We've been talking about our future self, getting more in touch with our authentic self. And there's this thought that a lot of you shared, like, what in the world does that even mean? Authentic self, what is that? How do I it sounds like you're speaking another language. We talk about our authenticity being beneath our protective self. But there is another part to it, and that's the fact that authenticity is state dependent. In other words, we can't be authentic and in our protective self at the same time. And I think that's where a lot of us, I know I did. I tried to be authentic, but I was in my protective self. And then I felt like I was at war inside of my own body. Our authentic self isn't like a fixed personality that's like in concrete, a model or a statue, but instead it's the natural expression of who we are when we feel safe. When we have a regulated, coherent nervous system, it's what emerges. And it makes me think of a computer. You think of a computer doesn't need to learn how to be a computer. It's designed to do certain things. It's designed to process, create, adapt, respond. It has memory. But if somebody puts a virus on it, it doesn't mean the computer is broken and damaged beyond repair. It means that the virus is there and it's affecting how the computer runs. So for anyone that's ever had a virus on their computer, you notice your computer freezes, certain functions start taking over, and it loses its original capacity to run like a computer. That's what happens with trauma. Trauma doesn't erase our authentic self, just like malware doesn't erase a computer's ability to be a computer, but it downloads a virus, I guess you could say, and that virus is the coping strategies, the protective responses that we had to go into to stay safe. So just pausing with that for a second. Does that make sense that it's like a computer? So point being, we don't have to learn how to be authentic, just like the computer with a virus doesn't have to learn how to be a computer again. The virus needs to be removed. When our virus or the trauma is removed, we all have, just like a computer, every computer is like the same in the way that it can function, right? Now, the programs people download are different. What I have on my computer may be totally different than what you have on yours, right? With us, we also have like a baseline of who we are when we're not in our protective self. And I'm not trained in IFS, but a really good book to read, if anyone has never read it, is No Bad Parts. But I'm going to share with you what I like about it is how it talks about um, the self, I guess you can say. And by the way, this isn't our personality. Let me just pull this up really quick. When we don't have any um, trauma, every single human being has the ability to have this is like our baseline as a human. We have the ability to have compassion, curiosity, connectedness, confidence, creativity, courage, clarity, calm. We can have our perspective, presence, playfulness, patience, and persistence. When we're trying to be, or when we're trying to get more in touch with our authentic self, we're not trying to be these things. I want to really clarify this. I put this down here. The C's and P's, they're not who you have to become. They're who we naturally are when we're not in our protective self. So this is who we are when we're not in our protective self. Then our personality is like, that's our unique spice. Because if we all have those characteristics, we'd be like robots, right? We'd all be the same. That's just like a computer is designed to have a certain baseline. That the C's and the P's and IFS, that's like our baseline. And then our personality, I might be extroverted. Somebody might be introverted. Somebody might have sarcastic or dry humor. Somebody else might love to laugh. Someone else loves to travel. So do you see how our personality traits and our baseline are different? Yes or no, if this makes sense. So when we're doing this work, what's helping us to get in touch with our authentic self is when we work with the tension in our body. When we spend time with the parts of us that are bracing for threat and we start building safety so that those parts can relax. When they relax, we step into those natural characteristics. And then when we're in those characteristics, our own flavor as a human comes out. So as that's like, help me to know what's coming up for you as you're like hearing this. What's your body doing? How's your body responding? A crucial aspect of IFS is nothing can ever change or erase your authentic self. I find this extremely relieving. Yeah. When I first heard that, like your authentic self is untouched by the trauma, I was like, are you kidding me? Do you see me? And then I had to realize, oh, this isn't my authentic self. This is all my survival coping strategies. Yeah. So, any questions about that? This is where like the live meetings are great because anything that comes up, anything that just like is weird or anything you want to share that makes sense, like this is your guys' time too. I'd love to know.
I can say something.
Go for it.
Um, it feels calming and it feels possible, but then the next thing that came up is like, but can I do it? Or can I sustain it? Because it's like, yeah, for like I agree, but then I'm like, well, how long will it last?
Beautiful. Thank you for bringing that. What you're describing is called an overcoupling. So whenever we allow ourselves to come out of the trauma vortex and we go into the healing vortex, like we talked about when we first started, and we notice the possibilities, it feels good to the body and a protective piece comes
Mm-hmm.
on. So we can work with that. So if you're up for it, if you feel comfortable, we can spend 5 minutes with both for a moment and see if you're up for it. Let me